Hello and welcome to or back to my channel. I'm Kit, your friendly feminist cat lady spinster, and today we're going to talk about the purpose of women. About a month ago, I saw a video from Tara Mooney and Noah Samson which introduced me to this man whose channel name I'm not sure how to pronounce, and honestly, I really don't care. Apparently, however, it means Sweden in Swedish. The video was so bad, I decided to talk about it as well, and I did some Googling. Whoever this person is, they have an allegedly sordid past. Do not look him up unless you want a rage headache. That being said, he seems to be mostly known for being very anti-vegan and very pro-raw meat. And then, sometimes, he likes to take a turn preaching his morality, such as it is. And you know, as a woman, there is nothing I enjoy more than a man telling me what my purpose is. I'm going to insert a trigger warning here, and we'll have a look at the video. And afterwards, we'll have a look at some of his comments.
I see a lot of videos for women on YouTube on how to get a so-called hourglass body, wider hips and bigger breasts essentially. They will tell you to work out, do plastic surgery, go on unnatural diets, and so on. All of this is bullshit. There's one solution to all of your problems.
I wouldn't call not having an hourglass figure a problem.
Pregnancy.
I do not recommend bringing a child into this world to solve your problems.
The reason you look the way you look is because you did not get pregnant right after you started menstruating.
I began menstruating at age 11. I was in 5th grade. You would think the knowledge that girls can and do get their periods so young would have stopped this video right there and it would never have been published, but it actually gets worse.
Your menstruation is literally your body, nature, God, if you're religious, telling you to have children now. Not doing that is exactly the same as not eating meat and fat when you are hungry. It completely goes against your body's needs and senses.
So, every time I have a period, I'm going against my body's needs and senses? That makes no sense. And of course, he cites no sources.
And you will be naturally punished for it. And in this case, you are punished with your looks. Every woman on earth that did not get pregnant when she was supposed to.
I was supposed to get pregnant at age 11? And because I didn't, I'm being punished with my looks? This is some strange logic.
Now looks different than she should, which means that most women in Europe and North America don't look the way they are supposed to. Do you understand how big of a deal this is?
No. It's actually better and healthier if children do not have babies.
Almost every woman that walks past you in everyday life doesn't look the way she is naturally supposed to. The looks are one thing, but there's a much bigger problem that most women have no clue about.
I love it when a man takes it upon himself to tell women about their problems. We're just so silly and clueless. Thank God for men like him who go out of their way to film outside in the rain just to let us know what we're doing wrong.
Your body stops growing at around the age of 18. Growth is not only your height, your body goes through a lot of changes, and one of them is that it tightens and stays that way for life.
Citation needed.
This is a huge problem for women in the West today. You've probably been told all of your life that childbirth is very painful, right? It actually isn't, but it is for most women in the West, and that's because they give birth
What was that laugh?
almost 15 years too late. You have to understand that from nature's perspective, you are seen as a loser, and that's why you will be punished with pain. This is why you have to give birth when you are young and flexible. Your hips will widen very easily when giving birth.
It's really despicable the way he plays on fear of pain to convince women and girls that the younger they get pregnant, the better for them.
And you won't have to go through those painful contractions that women who give birth at an unnatural age go through.
What is an unnatural age? 20? It blows my mind that people unquestioningly believe what this man says, even though it's so clearly nonsense.
Your hips will stay that way and make all of your future births just as easy, whereas those women can even risk bleeding to death when they give birth.
And now he's trying to play on the fear of death to convince women and girls to give birth as young as possible.
Again, this is a natural punishment for going against nature. You won't have stretch marks, your breasts will be much bigger, because you will be pregnant while you are going through puberty, which is how it's supposed to be.
You're supposed to be pregnant when going through puberty?
It will give you an extra boost, so to speak. This is how you actually naturally get an attractive body as a woman. Of course, you have to still eat natural food to be well developed and have an easy birth. You can't eat cookies and pasta and expect to have an easy childbirth, no matter how young you are. Genes obviously also play a role, and some women simply do have different body types.
Some.
The media teaches women to be promiscuous.
What?
The schools teach them to use protection.
Why is he air quoting the word protection?
And the families usually don't even get involved today. They don't have a strong father figure to lead them or to teach them anything.
A strong father figure to lead them? If he hasn't already, I predict he comes out with a video talking about how women need to be submissive.
Back in the day, we did not document our birth dates as we do now.
What back in the day is he talking about? How far back does he want to go?
Most people didn't know how old they are because naturally it's irrelevant. On the day a girl got her first period is usually when she lost her virginity and got impregnated.
Where on earth is he getting this from? You know, he never tells us who would be assaulting these young girls. I think we all know why, and it's making me nauseous and angry.
Nobody cared about her exact age because it didn't matter up until today.
The first recorded age of consent law dates from 1275 in England. What was he saying about today?
I'll give you some examples. In Spain, 20 years ago, the age of consent was 12. It was changed to 16 some years ago. In Italy and Germany, it was also 12 for ages. In Italy, it is 14 now. Nothing strange there. In Canada, up until 2008, it was also 14. Artificial marriages with a contract usually happened between the ages of 9 and 12 all around the earth. A bit over 100 years ago, the age of consent in the United States was 7 to 12 years, depending on the state. In 1920, after World War I, it was changed to 16 to 18 all of a sudden.
Why does he know so much about other countries' age of consent history?
That's also when women started working and sending their children to kindergarten. All of a sudden, the children were in the hands of the government. Everything started going downhill 100 years ago.
Everything started going downhill when the age and the age of consent laws were raised? Is he aware of how blatantly he's telling on himself?
It was like a great reset. Nowadays we have mind control programs such as To Catch a Predator with Chris Hansen.
Excuse me? To Catch a Predator is a mind control program?
I'm sure a lot of you have seen it. Men get caught for wanting to sleep with 15-year-old girls. Yet in Europe, the age of consent is 14 to 15 in most countries. And that's simply because even the governments here understand that no matter how old you are as a guy, you would have to be severely mentally ill not to find a 15-year-old girl attractive.
Maybe this guy shouldn't go around calling other people severely mentally ill for not sharing his twisted worldview.
Yet in the United States, you are seen as a monster for having a natural attraction, even though that's only 1 year away from 16, which is legal in a lot of states. It's a man-made number.
How stupid does he think we are? Does he think we don't know how this goes? Well, 16 is legal and 15 is almost 16. Well, 15 is fine and 14 is almost 15. Well, 14 is fine, but 13 is almost 14, and so on. What he really wants is for there to be no age of consent. He is disgusting.
And most importantly, in nature, you would never be able to tell if a girl is 15 or 16. Yet people still get prison sentences for sleeping with 15-year-old girls. But it's totally fine if she turns 16 the next day. Absolutely ridiculous.
And if the age of consent was 15, he would be whinging about how it should be 14 because you can't tell the difference between a 14-year-old and a 15-year-old, and so on.
Women in nature don't work.
What? Did he just say women in nature don't work?
Yes, they may gather food or do some chores here and there, but that's about it.
In hunter-gatherer societies, getting food was the work. And given that food helps keep us alive, I would say that's pretty damn important.
Men do all of the heavy work, and that's because biochemically we actually enjoy it. You as a woman do not want to work.
He apparently has a child. But I'm not convinced he's actually been near a woman.
And you most certainly do not enjoy working out or doing any kind of sports.
So, what are female athletes then? Figments of our imagination?
Hormonally, it completely goes against your biochemistry.
Working out goes against our biochemistry? Is he just using science words to convince people he knows more than he actually does?
The more you work out, the more infertile you get.
There's a big difference between being an athlete and working out, but I guess we're just ignoring that.
You would be a million times happier having a peaceful life, taking care of your children and your husband. A large amount of the time, you would be pregnant.
Okay, so basically this guy thinks that women's true purpose is to be a broodmare.
And that alone would make you want to rest, besides running the risk of a miscarriage if you would lift anything heavy.
WebMD has a list of 4 common causes of miscarriage, and heavy lifting isn't on that list. Has this guy said anything factual in this entire video?
Women nowadays sleep around and then they later realize that they want to have a family and a husband who is loyal and respects them. Snap out of it. Deep down, every man is going to see you as used up. Don't complain about it. Realize that you fucked up and try to make the best out of it.
Ah, yes. Now we're trying to shame women into thinking that if they have sex, they'll be used up and no man will want them. Better to settle down with the first guy that comes along.
Let's break all of this down and take the US as an example. As a teenager, you sleep around. Already when you've had 2 to 3 partners, the likeliness of you ever being able to pair bond is close to impossible.
Pair bonding doesn't apply to humans the way he's trying to push.
You are not allowed to naturally marry anybody who is older than you, who may be strong enough to take care of you, but you are allowed to sleep with other teenagers who watch porn and will drop you as soon as they have used you.
Is he actually directing this video to teenage girls? Trying to convince them that they should be with older men because the older men can take care of them? That is revolting. There's only one reason older men want teenage girls, and that is power, not biology. They just want someone easy to control.
This is where all of these damaged girls come from. You are not even allowed to artificially marry anybody with a contract before the age of 18. This is insane and inhumane because they make it impossible for girls to have stable relationships or to create a functioning family. You may have so-called relationships that even last a few years, but all of them will break in the end because of this.
Relationships end because they're not marriage? This makes no sense. It also sounds as though he doesn't believe teen girls can or should have relationships with appropriately aged boys.
Essentially, it is illegal to have a family in the United States of America. I'm not kidding.
You are full of shit.
This is what the New World Order is all about. China is a good example of it. The age of consent is 18, and to marry anybody, you have to be 20 as a woman and 22 as a man. This is basically 10 years too late.
10 years too late? So girls should be marrying at 10?
And guarantees a 99% family failure rate.
Is he talking about divorce? Divorce rates have never been that high, and they've been falling for years now because people are getting married older when they've had time to develop as people.
I assume that the age of consent will be 18 to 20 in the NWO, if there even will be any. Essentially, there won't be such a thing as a family. This is all part of the depopulation agenda. You believe that you are being oppressed as a woman, when in reality, the liberation is the oppression.
As a woman, I would find freedom by being impregnated and married at the age of 11. This man is trying to play some mindfuckery on his audience, and I'm sad to say it seems to be working. I don't know how he has almost 100,000 subscribers, but all the comments I saw were agreeing with him. There were newer ones calling him out, but I'm pretty sure they came from Noah and Tara's video. I did want to have a look at some of his comments.
In nature, most families have 15 to 20 children.
That is just not true. It wasn't true 200 years ago, and it's not true today. And I don't understand why people allow him to make these outlandish claims without asking for sources.
Nurses and midwives go through government education. Of course they will tell you to have children 10 years later than you naturally should. But what is this actually based on? Nothing. You are the ones spreading disinformation.
So we're supposed to be continuously pregnant, but we also can't trust nurses and midwives. I got pregnant at 23 and it was painful.
As it should when you're 10 years late.
I don't even know what to say. What a disgusting excuse for a human. And he has 62 patrons paying him $16 a month each. I don't understand how you go there for music or ex-vegan interviews and then end up here. Though I see he was talking about the New World Order 10 years ago, so I guess some of this isn't coming out of left field. Go figure that the man who thinks To Catch a Predator is mind control is also a conspiracy theorist. I'm going to end this video here. I would like to thank my patron, and if you would like to help support the channel, my Patreon is linked below along with my socials. Have a great day, night, whenever you happen to be watching this, and fade to cats.